So, Logic, you mentioned a couple of things that your book contains. You talked about life, talked about death, you talked about governance. All of these and so much more in the book are very sensitive topics. So, what is your take on death? In Logic Republic, what do you know death to be? Right? When you talk about death, when you talk about life, the balance is do you believe there's a balance? Do you believe one is more superior to the other? Right? What have you, from your experience in building Logic Republic for 30 years plus, leading with compassion, all of that, what do you believe death and life to be?
Yeah, so that, as we understand at the deeper
Mhm.
level, is the fundamental, meaningful, inevitable return ticket to source. It is not delisting, it is not finality, it is not a punishment. And this is contrary to what we have been told by religion, that death is as a result of man's sin. The man's sin, therefore man needs to die. But that is a fundamental design. It's part of man's design. So, um, why? Because there is birth. Do you get? So you left somewhere, you went somewhere, then you need to return to where you came from. And how is it? So we call it fundamental, inevitable return tickets to source, because there is a source where humanity left. For God to experience self, he needed to create himself in a physical form, in a limited form. So humanity here are a representation of God in the physical form. So for you to understand what death is, then you have to go into what we call the continuity cycle. So Logic Republic proposes that there are four worlds. That before a human being is born, you were
Mm,
first with source in the world of nothing. In this place, you are only divine intelligence. You are with source as a whole. Do you get? Now, after divine intelligence in the world of nothing, there's also what we call the world of the unborn,
mm,
which is called eternal restfulness. The world of the unborn is the world of the souls, where soul exists. Do you get? So you have the world of nothing, the world of soul. You have these two worlds. There are remaining two other worlds. Then there's the world of the living. So for somebody to be born, to come to life, certain conditions must be met. The man and the woman has to come together, or their sperm and egg has to fertilize. Once those two happens, it means that there's a call for destiny. There's a call for life. Once that happens, you have already activated life in the world of the soul. Once that life is activated in the world of the soul, for the soul to have a destiny, I said that the world of the unborn is eternal restfulness. It's the only place you're allowed to to exist without purpose. But your purpose is just to be there, resting. So once you make a call to the world of the souls, the world of the unborn,
mhm,
right? The word of the unborn communicates to the word of nothing, which is the word of God, for what we call the breath of life. So the breath of life comes with the purpose, assignment, destiny, what we call destiny, and your talent. Then the soul is activated to come to life. Have you seen the journey?
mhm.
That you first have the word of God, which is the word of nothing. Then you have
The
the
world of
word of the
truth.
unborn. Because you wonder that, okay, where are human beings before they were born? Where were you before you were born? So you were already in existence as energy, as intelligence. But a man, your father and mother needs to come together to communicate,
Mm,
to mate. Once that happens, they pull the call through to activate the soul, activate life. Once the soul is activated and the breath of life is upon it, which means that destiny is stamped, purpose is stamped, assignment is stamped, talent already assigned, then the soul cannot progress from there and descend into what we call the world of the yet born.
mm,
The world of the yet born is life in conception. When a man and a woman meet or mates, you will discover that for the first 2 months, there's no ingrowth happening. The reason is because all the spiritual or the non-physical interactions, and configurations are happening. This is where those ones are happening. Now, once those conditions are met, the soul descends into the womb as a human being. Then this is when the stomach begins to grow. The soul descends, become matter, becomes blood, becomes flesh. Then the child grows. As long as the soul is the life is in the stomach, it's still life in conception. So it is still the word of the yet born. Then upon 9 months or 7 months, as the case may be, that life is released into the earth realm, which is the world of the living. Right. So once you come to the world of the living, upon birth, you are going to experience mutism. You're going to experience big forgetting. You're going to forget who you are, that you are divine intelligence, that you don't
Yeah.
have limitations, right? That you are one with source.
Mhm.
Once you forget yourself in the process, when the water breaks, you forget yourself. You come into the world of the living, because the world of the living is the world of illusion. That's why you see a lot of people, they are deluded. It's the world of delusion where things are not the way things appear to be. So you would have to look at darkness. In the world of the living, you have to look at darkness to understand. But human beings look at darkness with sight, with eyes to see, hence ignorance. Have you wondered why everybody's chasing money, chasing profit, chasing greatness, chasing something or the other, and nobody's resting? But even when they know that something, death comes, they rest by all means. Why? It's because the world is meant for restlessness. So people are born, you're here, you're restlessness, you're characterized with restlessness. But for those who understand, instead of you just being chasing what doesn't matter, you just chase your purpose. You fulfill it, then you go back. So once you die now, this is where we're going to. Once you die, because from the day you are born, you're already dead. But we pretend as if we don't know. If you look at history, your grandfather, are they alive? Your forefathers, are they alive? If you look at everybody, have you not seen people dying? What tells you that? Is it that you tell me that you don't know that you die someday? But we all pretend. So when somebody dies, everybody start crying. No. So once you have lived life to your own point, right, you die. When you die, the problem here is when death happens, is it delisting? Is it finality? I think that's where the conversations is.
Yeah.
Is death delisting or finality? It is not. When you die, I dealt in everything that makes the man returns to source immediately. So the body goes back to dust.
Yeah.
Right. Then your spirit goes back to the word of God, or what you call the word of nothing, returns back. Your soul, ideally, should return to the word of the unborn. Meaning that all your components, both the physical and non-physical components,
Returns
are already
back,
dissolved
yeah.
in the source. But something interesting happens. If at the point of death your soul light is faded, or if it's at its lowest point, right? If your awareness, your consciousness is very low, your soul light. If you have not lived a purposeful life, when you die, your body returns to dust automatically. The spirit, nothing can hold it, so it goes back to the word of nothing, word of God. It goes back to God. But your soul is left stranded in the world of the dead. So I'm saying that when people die, there are people that all part of them dissolves and goes back to source immediately. But there are people that all parts does not go. Some are rested. That's the soul. So instead of going to the world of the soul, the soul now progresses to the world of the dead. And why do we call it the world of the dead? It's called eternal lovelessness. Because you have lived, the meaning of life, the purpose of life is love. The purpose of life is sharing because life is a miracle.
Yeah.
So once you have not had a fulfilled life, a life that's characterized of love, that's characterized of all participation. All participation. When you die, you go to the world of the dead, and you're going to experience what we call lovelessness. It's eternal because you don't know how long you're going to be there till you're going to experience love. And for you to experience, you can never experience love. For you to experience love, you must be reborn again. So you can die without experiencing the world of the dead. If at death your soul light is in place. But if your soul light is low upon death, when we say the lowness of soul light, you're saying that upon death, you have not lived a purposeful life. You have not lived a life that is characterized with all participation, because the essence of the universe is that everything rises from nothing into an all participation experience. So in logical problem, we call it AP equals NC. That's the formula. So the fundamental framework for the universe is AP equals NC, meaning that AP means all participation, all purpose, equals no competition. But if you look at the world where we are living, what you see is the reverse. You see people competing, fighting, killing. Why? It's competition. Nations rising to fight other nations for competition. Families fighting one another, competition, business people fighting, friends fighting, all this, everybody's trying to outdo the other person. But that's not what the universe is about. The universe is about that everything rises into an all participation. So we are supposed to be participating. You get collaborating together as one and not to be divided. So separation is false by this framework. It shows that separation is false. It shows that we don't actually experience death in the actual sense, right? That's, when you die, that's the end of your existence. There's nothing like that. When you die, is a shift in form. Because birth is a shift in form.
So death too is a
It's a shift in form. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that insight. Now, based on everything you've said from your book in regards to death, how do you think, or how would you say people would receive or perceive logic nation? Or based on this depth, based on this insight, how do you think people will perceive logic nation? Do you think people can actually carry the message that you have?
Yeah. I know that they will carry it. I know they will embrace it. You see, transformation is not something we resist, it's something we position for. Do you get? So when people say I'm trying to resist change, change is constant, transformation is constant. If we know if there's anything at all that we should know or that we know about the universe, even when we don't like to claim that we know them, is that we are aware somehow that change is constant. Transformation is constant. So it's not something that we can resist, it's something that we embrace. But then, how soon will they respond or will it resonate with people? In logical problem, we understand that man is an immortal being because man lives through the eternal breath of humanity and not persons. So our society has taught us that man is you. You are just one person, me, one person. We are all divided. No, we are not separated. We are all together. So man, we're talking about male and female. Humanity comprises of all of us. So God does not see you as a female, light-skinned, from Nigeria, from Igbo tribe, from a particular family, from wealthy or poor family, from challenged or non-challenged family. Do you get? God does not see all of that. God sees us, all of us, as one, as together, as humanity. Because humanity is an institution. It's a solid state institution where God experiences himself through. So we are not saying that whatever it is that we are proposing, Logic Republic is here to stay. It's an infrastructure, a resilient infrastructure, by the way, meaning that it will last, and meaning that people would embrace it with time. Right. But what we have been able to do is to make sure that some of the ideas are communicated at the basic level that people can,
The best
best way that we could afford, anyway. So I think that people are going to receive it well. It might be challenging first because it sounds strange.
Yeah, it's new.
It sounds new, yeah. So, but with time, I think everybody's going to come in line, and it will lead to the transformation that is ahead of us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lodge. This was a very insightful conversation. Oh, you guys, I'm sure you've heard so much about the book. You've heard one of the amazing plots. That means there's a whole lot more to unravel in that book. Something you should get. Imagine if death is like this, how much more life, how much more the topic of governance, the topic of humanity itself. And we cannot wait to read more, to listen, and to see what Logic Nation has to offer. Thank you so much for watching, for staying here, for watching this, and we look forward to the next episode. Thank you guys so much.